tell me exactly what RABIT is. What do you do that's different? What do you do that's helpful? What do you do that's useful?
Yeah, so RABIT stands for Revenue Accelerated by Intelligent Technology. Okay, and so what we do, number one, is generate revenue, and we generate recurring revenue at that. And what I want to make clear, before I get into too much about the product, is when I started this company early 2019, my mission statement was 3 words: educate and empower. Okay, my number one goal is to educate dealers how to better spend their money and spend less marketing dollars by using, if they happen to use RABIT for that, great. If not, that's fine. I've done my job. They can go, learn about it. I'm giving this stuff away for free. The software itself just automates these campaigns. So
RABIT's a software company.
Correct.
Okay. Can you, where can we see? Can we pull up rabit.com? What would be the best place? What?
Yeah, you can go to netlook.com/RABIT. Netlook. And that's our landing page. We're building a lot of marketing materials for it now.
Okay. Revenue, tell me again.
Revenue accelerated by intelligent technology.
Okay. So
it's not super important.
Okay.
RABIT is important.
RABIT is important. Okay. RABIT is important. RABIT is important. How is it going to help me? I'm a car dealer. Okay. I got a $50,000 ad budget. I run 2 events per month with Billy. Yep. That's $20,000. I still have $30,000 of ad spend. Yeah. I got the radio people coming. I got cars.com. I got these chat people. I got Gubagoo. I got.
So here's the main thing, especially with somebody who's using your events. Let's say we spend all this money with Billy. We generate all these car sales. Now what? RABIT's going to come in and grab those customers and make sure that they stay a customer for life.
Customer retention.
We're guiding them to their next action inside your dealership.
This is more than a shot in the arm. It's not going to help me sell 20 cars this week, probably.
It's not. But we're going to serve. We're going to guide customers wherever they are in that life cycle journey to their next step with your store. Whether that's intro to service, whether that's a decline service ad. Maybe they haven't seen us in 365 days. We're bringing them back to the store. We're staying 2 steps ahead of the customer, and what that does is protect that customer from some of these other conquest campaigns. From
the
some
other
of your competitors.
Okay. So that's to keep the other people from trying to pick them off. So let's take a Facebook event. Let's say we sell 50 cars this week off of Facebook. Those 50 cars go into the CRM. They go into the DMS. I don't know why that's not the same thing, but anyway. So when is RABIT going to touch them?
Well, we're going to sit down with each dealer independently and kind of craft this out with them in sort of a consultation. But what I would say is ideally 6 to 7 months later, we're going to introduce them to our service department. We want that first service visit. So what we're going to do is we're going to serve them a quick 10-second video ad that's shot inside your service department, features your service advisors, working on cars, talking to customers, and bring them in for that first service. Now from there, depending on how that service goes, we might loop them into a decline service campaign.
Okay. I want to hear about that decline service campaign, but let me back up for a minute. Sure. I sold 50 cars this week. Now, as a dealership, I've got their text and all this. So soon, they're going to start receiving texts from me. I don't know who's doing this. I just know this because I buy a lot of cars, and I get who are those texts coming from when I get a text message from someone a week later. How was your experience and stuff like that?
Yeah, typically that's another service provider. There's several out there. I'm not going to name any names, but there's some that are for customer experience grades internally. The dealerships want to know, how it went, what happened, and they'll forward those. There's some that send you a text and ask for you to generate a review on Google, Facebook, wherever. Those are typically automated from a service. So
that's
provider.
A software company somewhere that
typically.
Okay.
Some dealers will do that. Some salespeople will do that, but you'll see the salesperson is probably going to be saved in your phone. If it's from a number you don't recognize, probably it's an automated software.
What does that cost a dealer? Something like
that? Not a whole lot. I mean, maybe $200 a month or something.
Okay. All right. So they're gonna these 50 people I sold, they're gonna receive that message because most people have been sold on a $200 service for that. And then they're going to remind me of, they're probably going to already remind me of my service appointment, or are you saying that you need to jump in there and team up with them?
No, they will.
Okay.
And here's the difference is, how do I want to be reminded? 1, and 2, okay, I got a text that I'm reminded. Now what? I got to remember to go set the appointment, my ad is going to drop you right into the service scheduler. So that they can go from seeing my ad to scheduled appointment in less than 3 seconds.
So we're targeting them on different websites. We're not necessarily tech. This isn't a text campaign.
Correct.
Okay.
Primarily Facebook.
Okay. That's good. That's good. So we're going to target them with an ad that takes them to the dealership's
service scheduler. We're dropping them right into that scheduler. They can set the appointment online.
So it's browser-based, cloud-based. It's not SMS. So okay. That's helpful because you can't set you can't. I don't guess you could send a text message.
You could send a link, but what are the chances somebody's going to click on a link in a text and it's probably coming from a number they don't recognize,
and they could be driving down the road.
Exactly.
So, but if they're on Wi-Fi or if they're at home, and
here's the other key is they're not going to get 3 texts, but Facebook might serve them 3-4 impressions. So I got multiple chances for them to engage with that ad if I use Facebook.
And now, when did you say you're going to start doing this? When are they going to start seeing these ads?
Typically, 6 to 7 months, from their first purchase. We're not bombarding these people.
Is that how long it usually takes for service? I thought that was like maybe 2 or 3 months.
Well, depending on the vehicles. Now, if full synthetic, you can go 10,000 miles before your first oil change. But depending on the manufacturer, we whatever the manufacturer specifications is kind of where we fit in.
Okay, I could see some good offers, some compelling offers for that first service. I really okay. All right, so we're going to serve that. Do you know what kind of retention or what kind of some conversion you're having with those ads now?
Yeah, so the introductory to service is like, well, we're not finding everybody on Facebook, so the match rate is typically 50 to 60%, which is pretty strong, and we have some proprietary software in how we boost that match rate, which I'm not going to disclose, but yeah. So
proprietary software. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
So yeah, from that intro to service, we're seeing about a 40 to 50% that go right from our ad to the scheduler and schedule an appointment.
So 40 to 50% of the ads that people are seeing are scheduling the appointment.
Correct.
That's powerful. Very powerful. All right. So they schedule it. They schedule that. When are you going to touch them again?
So that it depends on the action that they take. If the advisor recommended an op code and the customer declined, we're going to hit them with that declined service almost immediately.
Okay. All right. Now I'm in the car business. Again, I believe strongly in the 80-20 rule. So I only pay attention to the 20% of the things that bring a whole lot of value to me. So I don't even know what an op code is. So you're going to have to explain to me, and remember this, if I don't know, maybe most people do know, but what do you mean by that?
So op code is just that's the code that their DMS logs what job was recommended. So if I
the service advisor?
Yes.
Okay. So the first service, they show up 40, 50%. That's awesome. And then that service advisor,
they may recommend a cabin filter, or the first service might be minor things, air filter, cabin filter, something like that. But that's money sitting there for the dealership. The margins vary, but
yeah, and tire rotation. I mean, I rotated my tires because we're in truck country. That's something to remember too, since you're where you're at, and wherever you get your customers from, which needs to be 48 states at least. These truck people, they need a tire rotation on their first service. So anyway, so that you could offer that. So based on there's a code that the service.
The code just corresponds. That's how our software determines what messaging to provide them. So if the service advisor recommended a cabin filter, the ad that you see.
Okay, so you're going to know what the service advisor offered them.
Exactly.
Okay, no problem. So we need to find out in the service department what their money, what the cash cow is, what their revenue,
which is customer pay, not warranty work.
Right.
So that's all the declined service work for the most part is customer pay. That's what you want to increase, and that's where you can really make a lot of money in the fixed ops.
Okay. When are you going to touch them again?
So
they decline it. I got it now. See, I'm catching. I'm.
Yeah. So let's say they take action on that declined service ad, which the declined service campaigns are by far the most effective campaigns that we run. We see anywhere from 12 to 14 times ad spend in returns. And so depending on that decline service ad, let's say they come in, they take action on the decline ad, right? We're now removing that customer from that ad audience automatically. So we're not going to continue to pay to put these campaigns in front of customers that have already taken the desired action. So from there, it may be a few months before they hear from us again. Maybe an end of lease, which we'll start hitting them 12 months before their lease is up. If they're in equity, they may see some campaigns from us. Or if an incentive comes out from the manufacturer that makes them eligible for an upgrade with a low payment or a lower interest rate, they may populate into some of those campaigns as well.
Okay, so you stay with them for the life of the. Okay, so 4 years. 4 years later, they're in the trade cycle. They're going to be starting to see some ads about lowering their interest rate or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
And these things aren't, when let's say somebody turns RABIT on, we're not starting. All these are starting simultaneously. So everybody that is going to, it's not these first couple customers that you sell, we're waiting for them to catch up. We're going to start serving everybody ads no matter where, because we can find out in the DMS where they are in their life cycle with your dealership. So we'll segment those audiences, and everybody in your database will start to drive towards their next transaction.
Okay, so you're in the DMS,
or CRM, whichever some dealers don't want us in the DMS, which is fine. So we'll go through CRM. We're in the CDK partner program, so it's super easy for them to turn us on. They just go to their app, give us access, and we're in. If they're not comfortable with that, we can use CRM data as well.
You're in the CDK partner program, is what you said? How many people are in there?
I want to say there's up to 650 vendors. Okay. Don't quote me on that, but there's quite a few.
That's good. We're not. So we don't really have a. I guess DigiNinja will need to get in there at some point. But we're just, our product is our service right now. Our software is very robust, but it's not.
Well, and this is a little bit off topic, but as we're talking about new technology and paying attention to vendors and things, the CDK, these big DMS companies are not always vendor friendly, and sometimes they're not always dealer friendly. I mean, there's it's not free to become a partner. In other words, there's fees involved, and a lot of times those fees get passed on to the dealer. We don't do that, but a lot of companies will say, well, you're with CDK, it costs us X, so that's going to be X on your fee, Mr. Dealer. Which at the end of the day is not right, because that's the dealer wants to use his data for marketing purposes, and CDK is charging the vendor's charging the dealer, so the dealer's paying extra to have his data be used for marketing purposes. And that's where there's the door is wide open for a company like Techion to come in and make it super easy for everybody to access the data.
Techion,
yeah, look them up. They just super interesting company. Jay, the founder, was with Tesla for 3 years, left Tesla to found Techion, and they just received over $1 billion valuation pretty recently. And they're in some stores. They haven't released any data as far as how many stores they're in, but it's going to be interesting to watch that one.
Gotcha. So tell me the relationship between Techion, RABIT, and
Netlook. So so when I left the dealership and kind of went out on my own, I was reaching out and contacting people to help with some distribution. Netlook is a company that does lot services, data syndication for inventory, and we were initially in conversations to just partner and have them help me sell into some of their dealers, because they saw a lot of value in it. And
RABIT,
yep.
Okay.
And we aligned very well. Adam is the CEO there, and our goals are almost perfectly aligned in that we want dealers to know where their data is going. We want dealers to know how much it actually costs to run these ad campaigns, and we want dealers to know if they're overpaying for a certain vendor. So it was a natural fit. They acquired my company. I'm now an employee with Netlook full time, and RABIT is their product, and it's a great relationship. And I think moving forward, we're working towards some pretty big things in some inventory specific ads in conjunction with their data syndication.
Gotcha. Well, that sounds good. So we're a lot of dealers are going to watch this. You saw a lot of the conversations they're sending me. So what's your pitch? What's your message that you want to get out to 1,000 dealers? What do they need to know about RABIT and know about Carson Henry?
Yeah, I think the first thing to know is, one objection that I receive a lot is, oh, well, I'm doing Facebook, right? Well, what does that mean? There's not one Facebook product that fits all. Facebook can target many different people and generate exponential revenue across the board in sales, service, and parts. So one thing to know is over the first case studies that we've done with all our customers, we're seeing a 14 to 15x return in revenue on average across the board. Okay, so what that means is you spend $1,000 across 6 campaigns, you're going to see in excess of $15,000 in gross revenue return through the service drive or the variable department, and that's reflected in our in the way we bill. So I don't want to get into it on the live show, but if anybody's interested, if you don't see returns, you don't pay us. And so that's how confident we are in the product. But the key is, we want to whittle down these huge digital marketing budgets that dealers are paying, to some of these big companies. They don't know where that money is going. I'm going to show you exactly what's going to ads. I'm going to show you exactly what our fee is. And I'm going to show you exactly to the penny who came into your store and how much money did they spend with you every month.
So do you customize each ad campaign to the dealer?
Absolutely.